Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to TGP2. It's back, a brand new season of TGP action coming to you here from Albert Park in Melbourne. It's season 28, not too long a wait whatsoever between seasons 27 and 28. The drivers eager to get back to it. It's some new drivers in the field, of course, but no new teams and no new commentary duo. It's still me, Ginger Andy, in the commentary box, joined by my wonderful colleague with those beautiful Scouse tones. It's Dan the Man F1. Dan, welcome back.
Good evening, Andy. Welcome back. Thanks for that introduction. That was very nice. Yeah, I'm
new season, Dan. Got to hype it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a lot of hype with this season. There's going to be loads of new championship contenders. As there's Magic Cube going immediately to the top as you join us on a 120.9. The bet noon odds have been all over the place.
Oh, have they? Well, actually, I think on that, I mean, I did try and poke Bet Ginger through the front door and allow them to take over, but Dom then told me, of course, Dom, the CEO of TGP, said that, in fact, Bet Ginger was used as a bargaining chip to try and get more money out of Bet Noon. So that's the politics and the ongoing fiasco behind the scenes. Dan, your thoughts on that one, because that's incredible. I was hurt by that.
Well, I'm shocked to hear that, yeah, but I mean, I thought Betnoon was getting enough promotion at the minute with the sponsorship of the TGP GT series, which kicked off yesterday. And
I'm pretty sure Alex Zaffro, who's not done a lap time yet, I think he was very keen to put a Betnoon sticker on his race car as well. So plenty of promotion down at Betnoon, but yeah, Bet Ginger kicked into touch, shall we say. But welcome along, everyone. Welcome back. TGP is back once again with TGP2 action every Wednesday night as usual, and I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty of excitement, plenty of drama along the way. Luca Chiapelli, our champion last year, and I think it's right in saying the top four of the standings were not allowed to race this season, so we're expecting, Dan, a much closer field, and as you said, Bet Noon odds all over the place, so it should make for some interesting viewing.
It should indeed, yeah. In fact, the quickest driver of the quali session last season that's on the grid today was Dom. So you would expect Dom to do quite well, although I think he's racing on his wheel for the first time in a league race. So he might take a while for him to get up to speed with that.
Yeah, it might take a while indeed, so we'll have to wait and see. We should also mention what you seen, Dan?
Alex Zaffro's just spun at the penultimate corner. Just got a little bit on the curb at the exit and on the grass, and is he going to come in a pit lane? Yes,
he is. Yeah, so into the pits comes Alex Zaffro. I mean, that's a corner. It's easy to do that. It's easy to lose the car there. I've done it a few times myself. But let's have a look out there on the racetrack and see if we can pick up one of the drivers. Who we got? Let's see if Sayre Sports is out there. Always a reliable source of entertainment. He's out there coming towards the end of a flying lap in that Ferrari. We should also mention we're still expecting 22 rounds of action this season, but the really great thing about it, Dan, is we're not going to Paul Ricard. We're not going to Vietnam, are we? We don't have to go around those racetracks again. They've been replaced by 2 short circuits, and Dan, I can't tell you how happy I am that is the case.
Yeah, I have to agree. I am also very happy that we're not going to Vietnam or France. I don't really mind France, but particularly Vietnam. I think all the drivers are unanimous in their delight at not having to take part in that race, and as you say, instead we're going to have 2 50% races around the Bahrain short circuit and the Silverstone short circuit, which I'm really looking forward to see how those play out.
Yeah, exactly. It should be really interesting, shouldn't it, how that pans out. That's something TGP2 like to do quite often, don't they? They like to mix it up a little bit, try experiment a few different things, and 50% around the short circuits. Yeah, I mean, we get enough drama in TGP2 as it is, but I'm pretty sure that will help us out. But here is Chris Johnson then, about to start a flying lap then, and he, without doubt, is going to be one of the main contenders, you would think. He's probably one of the shorter of the odds in the TGP2 standings as he makes his way through turns 1 and 2. Let's discuss this circuit, Dan. It is, in essence, a street track around at the Albert Park Lake. It's in a unique venue, and for me, I find it quite fitting that it's the opening race of the season. It's a shame that COVID reasons won't allow that this year, and it might even lead to it changing in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, even if this is the first race of the new season next year, of course, it's not going to be around this layout anymore, because this corner that Chris Johnson's about to come to is certainly not going to be here anymore going forwards. And so I have to say I really like this track. It's been criticised a lot in the past few years, hasn't it, in terms of overtaking, but yeah, it's still something special about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Something very special about it. Something that I enjoy. Perhaps maybe it would have been worthwhile leaving the track layout as it was to see how the 2022 cars race round it, see if the reductions in dirty air would have made the racing better. Because there's no doubt as the generations of cars from 2017 onwards, created, it made it almost impossible to overtake around a track like that. It certainly made things a lot harder. But here comes Chris Johnson round the final corner and up towards the line. A 1 minute 20.9 from Magic Poop Cannon is the target. Can he cannon himself in front of that? No, he can't. He's a quite some margin away, 21.5, and he is half a second down on the top time from the Estonian Magic Poop Cannon on top at the minute. And let's see if there's anyone else out there that can try and topple him, Dan.
Well, he didn't even improve his lap there on that lap. I think he was just a few hundreds off his previous lap, so he was up in the second sector, but could not find the time in the final. I don't know if he maybe put off a little bit by the traffic, as a Parser has crashed in the final sector, I think that he's crashed. So he's in 6th place and is out of the session. Parser and Cena, the two Red Bull drivers, took part in the TGP1 at the end of last season, but I think it was quite clear that they preferred to be in TGP2, and we'll see how they get on.
Here comes Dom Smith then. Is there an improvement? It's an improvement up into 5th place then, a 121.6. He edges ahead of his work colleague and boss, Sir Tom Penguin, by around 0.3 of a second, and moves himself up into 5th position. So a good time there from Dom Smith. Still waiting on a time from Alex Zaffro. We've seen him spin earlier. He's just about to start a flying lap, and we should discuss these Renault drivers, Dan, shouldn't we? Because they have improved quite considerably as the season's gone on. As last season went on. I mean, at the start of the season, they were nowhere. They were 4, 5, even 6 seconds in Tom Penguin's case off the pace. Now, last season, Tom Penguin got a podium, and there was at times where Alex Zaffro looked really competitive, and he might have got a podium. But now, of course, with some of the top dogs out, could either of these be dark horses, maybe, potentially Alex Zaffro especially, for a championship challenge? What do you think?
I think he could be right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially last season as well, Alex Zaffro, watching some of his streams, he was a little bit unfamiliar with the corner, the invalidations and how careful he had to be in terms of track extent. Oh my words, he nearly loses at the turn 12. But now that he's got the experience, and he'll know all about that as well, you would expect improvements in that respect as well. And so yeah, I think he could easily be a championship contender, Alex Zaffro, and Tom Penguin, I hope he'll be right up there as well.
Yeah, well, he'll be certainly sliding his way through the exit of turn 11 and 12, that high-speed chicane. Let's see if it translates to a decent lap time then as he comes round the final corner and heads for the line. A 120.9 to beat. He's a distance shy of that, around 1 second shy. He goes 8th quickest, a second off. And I've got to say, I think he'll be pretty disappointed with that, behind his teammate Sir Tom Penguin, who he was so often ahead of in qualifying trim last season. So at the minute, it's first point to Sir Tom Penguin in the qualifying head-to-head between the two Renault drivers, Dan.
Yeah, I think you're right, but will Alex get another lap in? I think he will if he stays out. If he's got the fuel for it, he'll be able to do one more. Got Cena coming around the final corner here, but I don't think he's way off. He's way off the pace. Everyone coming out now for their out laps, for their final big push to improve their position on the grid. Yeah, and at the minute, it's Magic Poop Cannon by a distance, isn't it? 0.3 of a second. We didn't expect this, but Magic Poop Cannon, the man from Estonia, is lighting up the timing screens at the minute with that 1 minute 20.9. No one getting anywhere near the 120.9 set by him thus far. So Joe Sayer is out there on a hot lap. Let's see what he's got for the middle sector. He's about level, but just half a tenth down on his previous best through that second sector up till now. So it's not a cracker, and he might have bailed out of it because he's not got the DRS open. So Joe Sayer maybe warming up for a flying lap. We've still got 3rd, 4th, 5th all in the pits at the minute. Sir Tom Penguin, the other man out there on the racetrack, but he has invalidated his latest effort, so we will not be seeing an improvement from Sir Tom Penguin on this occasion. He's got plenty of ERS left. He's saving it up for this run, Dan. Bear Grylls is out. Bear Grylls is out of the session. Did he retire? Where's he gone off? Bear Grylls, that's an odd one. But Salesforce does not improve. Bear Grylls is out of the session.
Oh, that's a disaster for Blair Grylls. 3rd at best for him as Sir Tom Penguin begins another flying lap around this Albert Park here in Melbourne. Potentially a little toe off that Ferrari in front. Won't be worth it as he makes his way into the braking zone at the end of that long straight into turn 3, where we've seen many a shunt down the year. Fernando Alonso, of course, one of the drivers. Jacques Villeneuve as well, climbing over the top of a Williams as Sir Tom Penguin gets a little bit leery there with the rear end sliding as he collects that curb on the inside. not a curb you want to be riding, Dan. It's so easy to lose the rear end as Sayre Sports picks up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Alex Zaffro in qualifying. That's an absolute disaster. He'd qualified so well, did Joe Sayre?
Well, yeah, you say on the front row of the grid, now he's going to be at least 7th. That's terrible for him. Meanwhile, Magic Poopcan at the front has just gone purple in the second sector, so it looks like he's about to improve his time.
Oh, big moment. Penguin's off. He's in the wall. He's way off, and he's smashed it to bits. Huge moment, just like his teammate had a moment ago going through that section. He couldn't save it, his teammate could, and it's session over for Sir Tom Penguin. What a shunt that is, and he's made a mess of the front of that chassis. Here is Magic Poop Cannon though going to the line and failing to improve. So it is a 120.9 to beat. Joe Sayre is busy collecting penalties out there, so he won't improve. Chris Johnson is on an outlap, and he's got 15 seconds to get to the line, and he should just get there in time. Dom Smith is out there starting a flying lap as well.
Got Jacko about to cross the line. He goes up into 6th place, so all the times are going to come tumbling in now at the final stage of this session.
Yeah, Jackal, great to see him back in TGP2, finding himself up in 6th position as Chris Johnson bails out of that flying lap. Magic Poop Cannon going slowly, so it's all on Dom Smith as things stand. No one really improving. What about Baz?
Yeah,
I'm not seeing much of him.
Baz is off. He's off at turn 9. He was up, but he was off. He's off, and that's it. 12th place at the best for Baza. That's disastrous.
That's a shocker for Baza, one of the drivers you would have fancied to be near the front of the field. All things are falling into place here for Dom Smith, but he's a 10th down on his previous best for the first sector, and things are not going well for the Alpha Tauri driver. Dan saying at the top of the show that he would be one of the men contesting for pole position, but at the minute it doesn't look likely. He's 7/10ths down on that effort from Magic Poop Cannon, a man who raced a few times down towards the tail of the field in TGB1, but he's put it all together today to be quickest in TGB2. What about Dom Smith going for the line? It's not a massive improvement. It is a fraction quicker, half a tenth, and it moves him up into 5th position. But it's all about Magic Poop Cannon and the Alpha that gets the victory. The Alfa Romeo on top by 0.3 of a second. Quite convincing in the end over Joe Sayre, who will drop 5 places. So it will be Blair Grills that joins Magic Poop Cannon on the front row, Dan.
I think Neljak was the only driver who improved there in the final minute of the session. So, wow, that's a bit of an anticlimax, but I suppose it just shows how close. Last season, Dom set a 121.2 in this quali session, but as we say, he is on the wheel. So if he's only 4/10ths off on his first time on the wheel, he's going to improve so much throughout the season.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. He will improve. It will take time, but we'll see how he gets on. But there are your results from the opening round here in Season 28 for qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. It's the Estonian Magic Poop Cannon, the man from Tallinn, who sticks it on pole position by 0.3 of a second over Sayre Sports in second, who of course has a 5-place grid penalty. Blue Grills will therefore start in the front row. He's third in qualifying though, with Chris Johnson fourth. Dom Smith starts from P5. Jacko lines up sixth as he returns to the series. Sir Tom Penguin only 7th after that shunt. Parser came home 8th with Alex Zaffro 9th, out-qualified by his teammate, and Cena rounds out the top 10. Neil Jack starts 11th as Baza down in 12th. He'll be disappointed. Indecisive, Mr. John, Blowing Wheelnut, Angel versus Death, Shep, Red Bull Kim, Stereogram, and Breezer completes the grid for Haas. So we're about to get underway. Our first race of the TGP2 season in Season 28 around Albert Park in Melbourne, the traditional venue. Dan, I would ask you, what do you expect? Who's the favourite? But we go into this season with a totally different grid, and it's really difficult to call who the favourite is. I suppose we're just going to have to wait and see for a pattern to develop over the first few races, won't we?
Yeah, it's so difficult to predict, and for all we know, the fastest guy in the field could, get involved in an instant in the first race and be right at the bottom of the championship come the end of this one, and we wouldn't really know too much about it. But yeah, it's so unpredictable. Really do not know how this is going to go. Just very quickly looking at the comments here, and Phil Bardwell would actually like to see Vietnam back on the calendar.
Oh, Phil, I'm not having this from Phil. He hates the Nürburgring, but he likes Vietnam. Well, get out. Stop watching, Phil. Come on, tune in somewhere else. A ridiculous comment. Anyway, here we go. The 5 red lights coming on, and TGP2 in season 28 is go. It's a good start from Magic Poop Cannon. Has he bogged down actually getting off the line? No, he's got away well. Going down into turn 1. Chris Johnson having a look at Blue Grills through that first corner, but it's Magic Poop Cannon leading the way through turns 1 and 2 as they and 4. It's Magic Poop Cannon by a distance. Blair Grills in second. Chris Johnson under threat from Tom Smith, who's going round the outside and looking like taking that third place away. No, he can't quite do it. And it looks like it's still Johnson in third with Dom in fourth. And Sir Tom Penguin has had a flying start. He's up to fifth, Dan.
Yeah, brilliant start for Tom Penguin. Great start for Basil as well, who was started down at 12. Oh, a Red Bull in the wall there. Down the middle of the straight is Parser, and his teammates Cena had a terrible start, spun at the first corner, so not a great start to the season for the Red Bulls. Brilliant for Magic Poop Cannon though, and Blair Grills.
Yeah, crucial start for them. The ideal getaway at the front of the field. Let's have a little look at the position changes then, if I can get them up quickly enough. There we go, and it's a big move for Baza. He's up 4 places, up to 8th already, so proving that qualifying was not a true representation of his pace. As Sir Tom Penguin again gets the rear sliding at the start of the Grand Prix. He had a crash yet in qualifying and very nearly wrapped it the very next racing lap he did round here, but he's just about held it all together, and he's chasing after his work colleague Dom Smith in 4th.
And Alex Afro is off the road. There's a bit of, there's a contact there, blown wheel nuts, and indecisive. Mackie is out of the race. He's hit the wall at 10:13. I think Alex, yeah, we've got a virtual safety car. It got a little bit jumbled up. I think Parser had that damage on his front wing and was causing a bit of a traffic jam behind him. And then we had the car go off. I didn't quite see it develop entirely, but indecisive Mackie ended up in the wall. So a terrible start for his first race of the season. Don't won't be happy with that either. His AlphaTauri teammate, and they've got drivers in the pit lane then. Presumably these guys have all got damage. Yeah,
well, I don't think so. I think some of them just think now's a good opportunity during the VSC to make the pit stop, and Baza was one of those drivers, and that could be an inspired call from Baza. Down in 12th in qualifying, puts the hard tyres on. He's running to the end of this race. Was that a really clever move from him? Neiljack was in too. Parser, Blown Wheel Nut and Cena all in the pits. Some of them for damage, some of them might have been tactical, especially Baza.
Yeah, I think you're right actually. Yeah, I don't think Baza or Neiljack had damage. You've got another yellow flag out. I'm not sure why, because everyone seems to be progressing on the road. But so we'll see how that works then for Baza. Could that be a genius move? Looks like Shepard's gone off.
Yeah, so it's all happening out there. Let's see if we can try and make sense of it all. But it is Baza out there now on a set of hard compound tires as we shuffle back up to the front then. Magic Poop Cannon leads from Blair Grills. Not really stretching that gap at the minute. It is around 0.6 of a second. So despite the 0.3 cushion he had in qualifying, it doesn't seem to be showing up in the race thus far. It is only lap 2 right enough, but Blair Grills staying well within DRS range, and it will be active at the end of this lap. So Magic Poop Cannon leads in a line across the line between Blair Grills and Chris Johnson. It's about 1.6 seconds. Very little to choose between them. Then a small gap back to Dom Smith, who has been dropped ever so slightly by the front trio in 4th, with Sir Tom Penguin behind him in 5th. But we've got a move going into turn 1, and there's that Jacko and Sayre going side by side. It is. Look at that Jacko getting right onto the curb then as he battles side by side with Sayre Sports. Down the inside goes Jacko. Sayre on the outside, and Sayre is either up into 6th place or retaining 6th place. I went to it late, and Joe Sayre found himself in 6th.
Yeah, he was making the move there, Sayre Sports. I think Jacko was trying to defend it, but it was a good defence. But in the end, Sayre Sports gets through and is in 6th place then. His teammate, meanwhile, is in the pit lane. With damage.
And I'm going to look and see if I've got anything downloading, because this stream is all over the place and I don't have anything downloading, so I don't know what's going on. So apologies, folks, if there is any issues with some lag out there, but we do have it all back and up and running. So it's the big mover at the minute is Sir Tom Penguin. He's 0.3 off the back of Dom Smith, and he's finding a little bit of pace out there at the minute in that Renault car. Surprisingly, you could say the lead Renault, he might have got the best result, and he's having a look down the inside of Dom Smith in the AlphaTauri. He's not quite close enough though to make that move, and he'll have to settle in behind the man from the Isle of Man as things stand. But he certainly looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, and he's on the move, as is his teammate, as he hunts down Angel versus Death, and he's very close to making a move, but on this occasion he couldn't quite do it.
Grill's almost losing it there at the final corner. I think just as he was engaging the DRS, but you can see he's closing in on Magic Poop Cannon now, and eventually these guys are going to have to pit, of course, and we'll be thinking now about strategy and if it's best to go for the undercut or the overcut as what to do there. Baza on those hard tyres after that pit stop, remember, he is still running in 13th place.
Yeah, and look at Mr. John, he's having a little look at his teammate, the two Racing Points, 7th and 8th at the minute. really close together on the racetrack. Jacko and Mr. John, two veterans of league racing. Jacko's gone a little bit wide, and here comes Mr. John. He's on the attack. Is he going to be able to make a move sometime soon? But Mr. John, you know, he loves a race in TGP. He's been here for a long time, and you know, he's looking to get a strong result and get one over on his teammate Jacko.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got Shepard off again, so he's really struggling out there in this first race of the season. Say Sports, meanwhile, still in 6th place after that penalty. Where could he have been at this stage of the race if it wasn't for the penalties? He makes his way through that amazing turn 11, turn 12 chicane, and I've just seen once again Tom Penguin almost lose the car there.
Yeah, I think the Renault might be struggling with a lack of downforce at the rear. No doubt about that. Maybe it needs a double diffuser planted on it because it's all over the place in the hands of Sir Tom Penguin at the rear. As we continue to watch Jacko and Mr. John squabble away unseen by us. Alex Zafra was now ahead again of Angel versus Death. As round the final corner comes Mr. John. Is he going to be close enough this time for a move on Jacko? As Jacko, I think, had to lift out the throttle there. He was really pushing through that final corner. And across the line they go. But I think Mr. John is still not close enough to make that move. And it's as they were as we reach 1/3 race distance, lap 5 out of 15. And it's still Magic Poop Cannon in the lead from Blair Grylls and Chris Johnson.
So we've got Shepard, who's retired out the race now, but he retired in the pit lane, so it's not going to cause any safety car or anything at the moment. Blair Grylls and Magic Poop Cannon fairly similar in terms of ERS at the moment, as Jacko picks up a penalty now. Maybe it might just be best for him to let Mr. John through at this stage, although the gap has extended a little bit now between those guys. Chris Johnson has got a lot more energy though than the front two ahead of him. He's in the 70s.
Yeah, it's almost as if Chris Johnson just waiting there, ready to pounce, biding his time, waiting on his moment. Certainly seems like Magic Poop Cannon has a slight edge. Oh, that's a big moment for Blair Grylls again, losing the rear end, and Chris Johnson will gain a good bunch of time there, a good 3/10 of a second at least. And Blair Grylls has dropped 4/10 to Magic Poop Cannon. I was just going to say that Poop Cannon had a slight edge on Blair Grylls, it would appear. And you know, that I think that's fair to say at the minute. He's now extended the gap out to 1.6. It was under a second after 2 or 3 laps, and Blair Grylls has had enough of those tyres. He's coming into the pits before he spins with a lack of grip and ends his race. So into the pits comes Blair Grylls. That will be the trigger for the pits. As you can see there by Amazon on the right hand side, the pit window is open, triggered by Blair Grylls. Big stop then, a big lap for the two leaders, Chris and Magic Poop Cannon.
Yeah, that was the right decision, I think, for Blair Grylls to come in there, wasn't it? But let's just see where Bazza comes out in relation to Blair Grylls here. There's Blair Grylls coming out. Bazza's just coming down the start-finish right now. He's got Red Bull Kim just ahead of him. So he's not too far behind after making that early stop. If can Bazza get this position done? Yes, he can on Red Bull Kim. Crucial
move then from Bazza on Red Bull Kim. The Danish Viking has been overtaken. He's coming back through. He's back in front. Go on, Red Bull Kim. Excellent stuff. Now he's hanging Bazza out to dry. He hung Mike Noon out to dry in the wet conditions at Silverstone, and now he's hung Bazza out to dry and said, okay, you might be one of the quickest in the field, but the Danish Viking likes a fight, and the Danish Viking has retaken the place stand. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, it was a bit of a surprise. It looked like he had it done, unless maybe he got it, had to give the position back when he took him off track. That's the only thing I can think about. That best been. Jacko's gone off! Jacko's off at turn 12. He's going way too wide. And he's in the wall. And Mr. John has gone off as well.
He's taken his teammate with him. Unbelievable. Suicide down at Racing Point. Can you believe it? Jacko in the barrier. And off goes Mr. John in sympathy. And it's a virtual safety car. It is a virtual safety car. But crucially of all, Otmar Safnal has got his head in his hands. He can't believe it. Both Racing Points ending the race looking a bit racing pointless, Dan. Unbelievable.
Oh, my word. Imagine having to go and see Lawrence Stroll after that. Wow. Now, what's going to happen here? These guys coming out the pit lane. Obviously, this is not good at all for Blair Grylls, who just pissed on the previous lap. Although, is he going to... No, he's lost so much time, Blair Grylls. Look at that. He's 5th, 4th.
Just ahead of Sir Tom Penguin. Unbelievable, then. Disaster for Blair Grylls, and equally, you could say, for Bazza as well, who would have been gaining a massive advantage by being on the hard compound tyre and making that pit stop under the first VSC. Well, now he's got no advantage at all, and he's still stuck behind Red Bull Kim, by the way. Red Bull Kim defending like his life depended on it. He's running up in 7th at the minute. Incredible stuff from Red Bull Kim, but here comes Bazza now. He's got to look down the inside. Is he going to make the move on Red Bull Kim? No, he's not. Still Kim fends him off.
So that was such a strange moment with the racing points there. Just seeing Jacko went too wide. It's not like he lost it on the curb, he just went off onto the grass and then spun across the track. And it must have put Mr. John off, because I didn't see any absolute direct contact. What an absolute disaster.
Here we go now, Baz around the outside of Red Bull Kim into 11 and 12. This is going to be incredible. He's done it. He's done it. Baza gets ahead of Red Bull Kim, and the Danish Viking finally relents to the Welshman, and the Welsh Dragon powers through and up into 7th place. But Red Bull Kim, hats off to him. We know he's not the quickest, but he likes to fight it tooth and nail, and that's exactly what he did. But Baza's finally through and up into 7th place. Nice little battle between the two, and it just shows, even when two drivers are, you know, different ends of the pace spectrum in TGP2, Red Bull Kim, still more than a match and more than a fight for Baza.
Absolutely, meanwhile, you see the top three all fairly close together. Then Blair Grylls 2.3 seconds back from Dom in 3rd place. He would have thought he would have come right out in the fight, but that virtual safety car certainly helped those guys making the pit stops, and Blair Grylls is really coming under extreme pressure now from Tom Penguin, if anything. Sir Sports right there behind as well.
Sir Tom Penguin again putting a wheel on that curb. He needs to be careful, but there's no doubt about it, of the front 6, because they all look quite evenly matched, don't they, Dan? I would say that Blair Grylls looks like the weakest. He looks like the one struggling the most, you know, for pace, and the rear end being twitchy. It clearly looks like Sir Tom Penguin and Sir Sports are quicker, and you know, it shows, because you know, Blair Grylls is now 2.4 seconds off that podium trio of Magic Poop Cannon, Chris Johnson and Dom Smith, who are also extremely closely matched. So Blair Grylls at the minute stopping Sir Tom Penguin, and Sir Sports challenging for the podium places here, isn't he?
He is indeed, yes, and I just wonder if we're going to have penalties making a big impact in this race now, because they're so close together, especially these top three. So hopefully they've been going quiet enough in terms of track limits. As Neljak's gone off. Oh, Neljak goes off at 10.13. It's going to allow Zafro to maybe sneak through at the next corner. They're going to be side by side. Oh,
excellent stuff for Alex Zafro there. Oh, look at that. That's very close there between Neljak and Red Bull Kim now, and excellent racing there. But up to 8th place goes Zafro, Neljak to 9th, and Red Bull Kim down to 10th. So Zafro making a late charge through the field. He's now up at the 8th place. Can he get any higher? Next up on his radar, 5 seconds up the road, is Baza. It's going to be a tall order with just 6 laps to go.
And Sports is in 5th, and Chris Johnson's in the lead.
What's happened there? Not too sure. He's got damage. Damage for Magic Poop Cannon. He's been leading the race almost from start to finish. Well, he's only going to go 2/3 race distance in the lead, because he's got wing damage. He's obviously been off the road somewhere, and he's throwing away an opening race victory. Magic Poop Cannon, front wing damage. Chris Johnson goes past him. Dom Smith follows through, and the Alfa Romeo man has chucked away a fantastic result in the opener. Pole position by 3/10, the only man in the 1-minute 20s, and now he's limping back to the pits with serious front wing damage, Dan.
He must have lost it at turn 5. I didn't see it happen, but that's what can be the only assumption. Damage on the left front, so he's probably just gone a bit too quick, bit too far into the corner, hit the wall, and he's going to have the pits, as you say. Disaster then for the two guys who starts on the front row in this race, one because of the virtual safety car and one due to an unforced error. Yep,
absolute disaster. Blair Grylls then retakes 3rd position in the race, but he's under serious pressure from Sir Sports, who has not been hanging around. He's cleared Sir Tom Penguin in a hurry, and now he's setting about clearing Blair Grylls. And, you know, Sir Sports, where would he have been, Dan? We said this, didn't we? Where would he have been without that 5-place grid penalty? He's absolutely flying. And here we go, down the inside on Blair Grylls potentially. Going to try and do it down in the makeshift car park. I think it's a car park usually. And, well, it's a Formula 1 racetrack today. And Sir Sports nearly squeezed that car into a car park space-sized wedge. But thankfully, he stays in 4th position and does not run into the side of Blair Grylls there, because that probably is what would have happened if they came to blows in that corner. So Blair Grylls then still running in 3rd, but Sir Sports right there, Dan.
He is indeed, and Dom is also right there on Chris Johnson as well. Look, it's 7/10 is the gap now between them, and this is where you can get DRS. You have to be extreme speed though coming off that chicane, and Dom uses his DRS, but he can't close in. And Blair Grylls has crashed.
He's gone. There you go. He's gone, and we knew that was coming. And there we go. It's Baza. We go on board with him. He flies past him, and there's another one biting the dust in the wall on the exit of the 11-12 chicane, and it's another man that was on the front row of the grid. So Blair Grylls and Magic Poop Cannon having a disaster this afternoon after the great qualifying. They're now out of the race, and the other one's going to be taking 9th place here. Unbelievable things going on, and Dom Smith is climbing all over the back of Chris Johnson. Dom Smith is the man on the move here, and Chris Johnson's going to have to get defensive. DRS open in the AlphaTauri, squeezing down a barely visible gap, and he almost gets it through, but Chris Johnson clings on for now, and that was very, very close to contact. As I said earlier on, we've seen many a shunt down there, and Johnson's very wide now, getting on the grass, and Dom Smith is all over the back of him, but not yet close enough to make that move. But Johnson really is under pressure here, and he's not responding well to it, because Dom Smith has got the bit between his teeth and hunting down a potential opening race victory here, Dan.
I think Chris Johnson nearly made the same error that Magic Poopcannon did there in turn 5, but Dom's right there now, isn't he? And if he can just have a great run through this next chicane, he can get the DRS and go for it into turn 13. Let's see what happens then. How much curb are they going to take? And Chris goes a little bit wide.
Very, very wide. He's in trouble now. Dom Smith with the overspeed, with the DRS open. He's going to sweep round the outside, and he will take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. Dom Smith flies past, and Chris Johnson, who was making all sorts of mistakes under the pressure, finally buckles, and Dom Smith is through and up into the lead of the Australian Grand Prix here at Albert Park in Melbourne. But Chris is not done yet. He's got DRS. He might have a run out this final corner. I don't think so, though. Dom Smith looks like the faster driver, and he might surely now disappear off and take the victory, Dan.
Well, so much for I'm going to be right at the back of my wheel. Look at that, he's in the lead of the race with 3 laps to go. Chris Johnson does have a lot of ERS though now compared to Dom. Dom's virtually non-existent at this stage. So if Chris Johnson can stay within a second, he could still have a go. It's going to be very close, I think. Say Sports 3.5 seconds back. He'll be open for these two to collide.
And he sure will be. Joe Sayer and Dom Smith, they go back a long way. On track and off track, the two of them. Good friends, of course. Chris Johnson in the middle at the minute between them. Sir Tom Penguin, by the way, we lost our heads last season when he got a podium. He's not far from getting another one today, but it's a slightly different field, of course. But things look good for him in 4th position at the minute, and a podium, I think he'd be delighted with that if he could get that in the opening race, but there's every chance he could if anything happens in front. But at the minute, Dom Smith has the lead, and he has a 6/10 advantage. Can he try and maintain that? Can he just hold on and deal with the pressure? Because Chris Johnson, when he led, didn't deal with it, but it looks like Chris has, got his thoughts together, composed himself, and is now beginning an attack of his own.
Yeah, I think he's been very strategic as well with his DRS use. He didn't use it there down that previous DRS zone, because he knew he couldn't go for it. Dom seemed a bit wide through that final corner, and DRS once again will be enabled here. I don't think he'll be able to get him down this straight, but if he can get a good run through these first 2 corners, this could be on into the next one.
You're absolutely right, Dan. I think there's every possibility. There's a chance for Chris to get this move done. Dom again looking a little bit out of shape. It's flipping one way and the other, chopping and changing. Whoever leads the race seems to be the one making the mistakes. Neither want to win it at this stage. We've got 3 laps to go, 2.5 to go. It's still Dom Smith who has the upper hand, but it's barely an upper hand. And look at that, Chris Johnson's so much quicker coming out of that corner. They're almost side by side down the straight. Dom Smith just about holds on to the advantage, and all the while, Sayer Sports is rapidly gaining. The prancing horse is galloping onto the tail of these two.
He's absolutely flying. It was 3.5 seconds this time at the stage of the last lap. He's closed in 2 seconds in a lap. He's got his right in. Chris Johnson once again with DRS down this next straight after this chicane.
Oh, this is incredible. It's like MotoGP. Take out Marc Marquez and anyone can win. It's going to be dramatic. Take out the top 4 in TGP2 and it's the same story. Chris Johnson then with a bit between his teeth, having a look down the inside into what I like to call the first Lesmo. It's so similar to double right-handers, just like in Monza, but he's not quite close enough as Joe Sayer almost gets within a second now. He is within a second. He's going to get DRS. This is a 3-car fight for victory with just 2 laps to go as they go around the final corner then. Dom Smith in the AlphaTauri, Toto Wolff looking on from the pit wall as Chris Johnson's Black Arrow Mercedes tries to get back on terms with that AlphaTauri, but there's no doubt about it now. There's 3 cars in this fight and Joe Sayer's just waiting to pick up the pieces of any potential incident at the front. 2 to go. Dom still leads from Chris.
And you can see the red light. He'll see that red light flashing on the back of Dom's car. He'll know that Dom is running low on ERS. Chris Johnson's still got a fair bit left. And on that previous lap through the chicane, he used so much curb, Chris Johnson, on the exit of it. I think he really thought that was his chance, and I wonder if he's going to attempt that again. Of course, if you do that, it's a big risk, though, because you run a great chance of maybe getting a warning, which could then lead to a penalty. That's the last thing you want.
Absolutely. Oh, this is fantastic. A lap and a half to go. The opening race of TGP2 in Season 28, providing plenty of drama once again. Still, we don't know who's going to win this race. I think we can be pretty confident of the three in the podium, but they're all jostling to decide which order it will be in. Dom Smith still leads. DRS again in use for Chris Johnson. A little dab of overtake, no more than a dab though, to get himself within striking distance for a potential last lap assault on the race leader, the man from the Isle of Man. Dom Smith looking to send that little island wild. Round the final couple of corners they go. We ended last season with a man from the Isle of Man as champion. Now it's another man from the Isle of Man looking to start the season in style. Across the line they go. Still no ERS usage from Chris Johnson. He's now surely going to use it. He uses the overtake now. Opens up the DRS. This is the final assault then from Chris Johnson in that Mercedes. He looks left. He looks right. He goes down the outside of Dom Smith. Dom brakes later. Now cutting back underneath is Chris Johnson into turn 4. Right round the outside he goes. It's excellent. And Sear Sports sweeps through as well. And Dom loses the lead of the race. He loses 2 positions in one corner. And now it's Mercedes versus Ferrari at the front as Sear Sports picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that could be curtains for him as well. Oh, he's hit him! He's hit him! And that's damage as well. Surely this is in the bag now for Chris Johnson.
Well, is Sear Sports going to go for the position? He's going to go for the lead.
He's going to go for it round the outside with damage front wing, remember? And Chris is through. Dom is right there. Dom's off the road. He's way off the road.
No.
Here comes Sir Tom Penguin, by the way. He won't get there in time. Dom will recover to the racetrack. It will be third. It's actually not even going to be second because Joe has the time penalty. But because he went off the road, it's ruined his chances of getting that second place from Joe. Unbelievable finish here in TGP2 in the opening race of the season. The Australian Grand Prix. We didn't know who was going to win it. We certainly know now. Across the line comes Chris Johnson for Mercedes. He wins the opener down under in Albert Park. Joe Sear storms back to second, and Dom Smith ends a furious third with Sir Tom Penguin and Alex Zaffro bringing it home in 4th and 5th. No podium for them, but they'll be happy with that. Zaffro drops to 6th as a result of the time penalties, and Baza recovers from 12th on the grid to 5th, having went on the hard tyres after the first VSC. What a finish. Magic Poop Cannon, he was the man that looked like he was going to win it. Ended up home 7th after front wing damage. Nailjack 8th, Jacko 9th on return. And Parsa looks like he's going to come home and claim the final point in 10th. And what was a breathless opener to the TGP2 season, Dan?
Oh, that was amazing, wasn't it? That was fantastic. I think, well, I don't know if the stewards are going to look into it, but it got very, very... I don't really know what to say. It got very, very messy, didn't it, on that final lap? It was incredibly exciting, though. Incredibly exciting. Chris Johnson takes the win. But, wow, that final lap, I'd like to see that from the onboard of all three at the front there. It's going to be a few choice words, I have a feeling, that are going to be said after that.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, Dan. I mean, we're not stewards. We're not the stewards. We don't like to pass comment, but it certainly looked like Joe was the aggressor. Would that be fair to say? Going a little bit hard on Chris Johnson down at turn 9 and 10, damaged the wing. But I mean, it didn't affect Chris, really, did it? That's the thing. I suppose the question is, did anything, cause Dom to swerve off the road? But I don't really think so. I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one. But Chris Johnson, he was certainly squeaky clean on that final lap, and he's the deserved victor of the Australian Grand Prix down under in Albert Park. Chris Johnson is the winner from the opening race of the season. What a thrilling race. I mean, if we can get 22 like that, we're in for a cracker. And with no France or Vietnam, I think there's a good chance, Dan.
Yeah, definitely. Dom says that he thinks it was all fair and he enjoyed it, and congratulates Chris on the victory. So fair enough then. Respect between those two drivers then. Fantastic stuff. Sear Sports could have won that race if he starts on the front row. Magic Poop Cannon could have won that race if he didn't crash. Blair Grills could have won that race if he wasn't unlucky with the virtual safety car. And in the end, it's Chris Johnson who takes it.
Yeah, congratulations, Chris Johnson, the winner here in Albert Park, the opening race of the season. What a race, what a finish. He wins from Sayre Sports, who recovered from 7th in the grid to 2nd. What could it have been? Could it have been the victory if it wasn't for that penalty in qualifying? Dom Smith completes the podium in 3rd. A solid effort from Sir Tom Penguin in 4th, with Baza splitting the Reynolds in 5th. He's a man that needs a better qualifying and a good result next time out. Alex Afro was 6th, Magic Poop Cannon, what might have been for 7th. 8th was Nell Jack, 9th was Jacko, and Parsa rounds out the top 10. So that completes the top 10 here at Albert Park in Melbourne. And Dan, as always, I'd like to ask you your driver of the day from that opening race.
I think you've probably got to say Chris Johnson at the end. He made that error, didn't he? And then Dom got back through, but he stayed with it and didn't make any errors after that and won the race. Sayre Sport as well, I suppose. He probably could have won. Magic Poop kind of made that error, didn't he? So you can't give him driver of the day. You can't give it to Blair Gills either, who also then made an error. So I think ultimately you have to probably give it to Chris Johnson, right? Sir Tom Penguin, I suppose. It almost feels like he's gone a little bit under the radar because he done so well at the end of last season as well. But 4th place was Sir Tom Penguin.
Yeah, well, I think we should touch on that because it's something we discussed at the start of last season, wasn't it? We spoke about consistency. You don't have to be the quickest outright to win the TGP2 Championship. There's so much chaos, so much drama that can go on in a race. Just be consistent. Don't make mistakes. And that's what Sir Tom Penguin's done there. He's not the quickest, but it's 4th place. It's a strong result. 4th place all season won't win you the championship, but you will get crazier races than that, where it leads to a win or a 2nd, or a 3rd, and you just keep that points tally ticking. Luca didn't start the season last time out quickest. By the end of the season, he was quick, and that did help him as well as his consistency, Dan, didn't it? But you can put in a good challenge by just being consistent, and we've seen that in that race. The 2 guys in the front row ended up with one out of the race and the other in 7th.
Yeah, you're spot on, yeah. And in fact, I think Renault currently, after that race, will be 2nd in the constructors behind Mercedes. I haven't done the maths, but I'm just very quickly just trying to work it out based on the finishing positions. I'm pretty sure Renault will be in 2nd place, so a good start to them for those guys as well. It's great to see, isn't it? But Bazza as well, because he made that pit stop on lap 1, didn't he? And then he also got unlucky with that virtual safety car. Went on the hard tyres, ended up 5th. He could have been right in there as well. That was a fantastic race with so many different ways it could have swung. No,
you're absolutely right, Dan. I mean, we did say, didn't we, that who actually wants to win this race when Dom was battling Chris, and it worked out that way, didn't it? You're right. There were so many different people that could have been the eventual victor, but in the end, it was Chris Johnson with that strong result and strong victory. But now we head to Abu Dhabi, Dan. Not a classic, I'll be honest. It's not my favourite track, but on the game, most certainly, it does present good racing. There is 2 really strong opportunities to overtake round here, so we should see a good race.
Yeah, it's again, yeah, this is not certainly not one of my favourite circuits in the world, but early in the season as well, so I could also add to the little bit of incidents that could happen, I suppose, a bit more extra drama, people getting used still to the new cars, so hopefully we're going to have another great race. In fact, it was a season opener last season, wasn't it? So it's actually later in the season for this season, but hopefully we've got another good one on the way.
Yep, let's hope we do then, as we load up and head across to Yas Marina. What a venue it is. I mean, the track might not be the greatest, but it's certainly some facility, isn't it? I mean, state of the art. We've got a pit lane that goes underneath the racetrack. We've got a hotel in the middle of it that lights up. I mean, it's quite the spectacle. You've got a marina in there. It's like the Middle East version of Monaco, isn't it? Without the barriers.
Yeah, it is. I wish it had maybe just a few more gravel traps and a bit of grass and stuff like that to catch them out. But it's there. It's a racetrack, and occasionally it can produce good races. 2012 was a great F1 race, wasn't it? And 2016 as well had a lot of tension going into it. 2010 as well, obviously because it's the championship decider. So when it has its day, it's exciting.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I suppose 2010 and 2016. I mean, they were exciting because of the championship more than the actual circuit and the race, weren't they? But you know, I think we'll give it its due. 2012, as you say, it was a good race. There's no doubt about it. That was a cracker. Again, there was championship behind that as well. Not final race of the championship, but you know, still a good race. But the car's all in the pit lane then as we get underway for qualifying, and there is a twilight race in Formula 1, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, so you won't need to adjust your television set, folks. You know, the brightness isn't dimming on your telly. It will be getting darker throughout the session, so don't be alarmed. But we have got some cars heading out on the track, and Red Bull Kim is one of them as he makes his way out the pit lane, involved in plenty of action in the last race. Finished 13th. I don't think he pitted under either VSC last time out, but he is out there on the racetrack, and I do keep an eye on Red Bull Kim quite often, and I did see that in his summer house he's managed to get 2 charging ports for hybrid cars. So if anyone comes along with a Mercedes hybrid car, you can come along and charge it. And you know, it's good to see that Red Bull Kim is following the Formula 1 initiative to go green and support that, and especially when we've got a penguin on the grid trying to protect those polar caps. I think that's a really good thing to see, and I'm led to believe Sir Tom Penguin is backing that move from Red Bull Kim, so good to see, Dan.
Yeah, full credit to Red Bull Kim for that. I love his crash helmet that he's running there as well. Looks very good. Car number 9. Hopefully he can have another great season, or a better season than last season, and can put in a few decent results. We saw him have that great battle with Baz in the previous one, as you say.
Yeah, he did, and he's almost getting overtaken there. I think one of the Red Bulls, it was Parsa having a look up the inside there, and during qualifying of all times, but Red Bull Kim's having none of that. He just says, no, it's qualifying, wait your turn, and he's quite right, is Red Bull Kim. So let's see who we got out there then, going to start a flying lap. We'll be seeing very soon, but you know, Dan, we always like to do a hot lap in the second race, don't we, and have a little look at the circuit. We spoke about it briefly, so let's pick up someone out there on the racetrack. Let's go with Parsa then. He's found some space to go for that lap, and let's go around this circuit. So final corner, and then up to the start-finish line. And Dan, I've got to be honest, of the whole racetrack, my favourite part to drive, it is that first sector. I think it's actually quite flown, you know.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, especially this second bit now that Parsa's approaching. Flat out around the, well, you can go flat out, and yeah, that is an enjoyable part of the circuit, isn't it? But then I don't like the chicane. I don't know why, it just feels almost too tight, I think, and then a very short run around to the hairpin, which I think didn't they say that they had to create the track like that because for safety of the spectators, they didn't want them going too fast going into that hairpin or something like that.
Oh, if that's the case, Dan, it's news to me, but I like your thinking and I like your sources, and I was just about to ask you, Dan, why do they not just run faster into that corner to, you know, create a better spectacle on exit? It might seem more overtaken, but you've answered it for me with that wonderful insight, so thank you.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is anyway. And then this support pit lane is on the right hand side there, and then this is where you sort of lose a lane down both of these straights, and then into this twisty section. This is where it gets a bit crunchy now, isn't it? It gets really tight, twisty. On the left hand there, you're approaching the hotel. I do quite like this corner. Flat out round the and then flat out the second one, then quickly on the brakes to get round the third right hander. He's going to get held up a little bit here by Red Bull Kim, but Red Bull Kim is on a lap. Although now he does get out the way, underneath the tunnel, underneath the hotel even. Close to that wall on the outside and the inside there. Through the final 2 corners, and you can brake very late into this final corner, later than it looks. And as it comes around the final corner, he goes quickest.
Yeah, so there you go. Parsa on board goes with a 135.7, quickest of all ahead of Neil Jack in second. Poop Cannon immediately dispatches him and puts him down a place. But yeah, lovely little guide around the lap there from Dan the man. But Dan, you know, that final part of the lap, it's pretty much right angled 90-degree corner city, isn't it? I mean, but you can kind of, you know, excuse Herman Tilke a little bit, can't you? Because there's a lot of features that he has to negotiate: a hotel, a marina, you know. But you know, it could be a wee bit better, that final part, couldn't it? Because it's a bit single file, it's a bit point and squirt the car, isn't it? It's not much fun, is it?
Yeah, just it's not great to watch, really, is it, when you go through there? But you know, I wonder what a wet race would be like around here. We'll never see it, probably. But
unless Bernie's going to turn the sprinklers on, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, unless the sprinklers idea make a comeback. Yeah, wet race around here would be interesting, I think. bazz it out on the track on the medium tyres. They stick him with his way of doing it last season, where he always done the first run on the medium tyres. Chris Johnson's about to complete his first lap on 35.6. So again, Magic Poop Cannon then getting the early advantage of a second out in front.
Yeah, so Magic Poop Cannon once again looking like the fastest qualifier, but of course needs to put it together in the race. It was looking good, of course, before we made that error. I mean, we presume it's an error. We didn't see it unless there was contact somewhere, but I don't think so. So Baza then, let's keep an eye on him, because he's certainly a driver we expect to see near the front of the field, but certainly did not make it easy for himself, qualifying down in 12th position last time out. But here he comes round the final corner, 135.1 the target. He is on the slower tyre, of course, so he will be a bit slower. Up to the line, and he opens his account with a 136.8, 1.7 off the pace. As Sir Tom Penguin behind that on the road pops into 5th at 136.2, 1.1 off the ultimate pace. So it's Poop Cannon out front, 12 minutes to go. Chris Johnson second, and Parsa in third. Oh, but Tom Penguin's gone again!
Dear.
And this time, unlike in Melbourne, he's not ripped the front wheels off the chassis, and he will live to fight for another day. But that was very nearly an embarrassment for Sir Tom Penguin, in 2 successive sessions ending in disaster.
Yeah, but thankfully for Sir Tom Penguin, there's still 11.5 minutes to go, and as you say, he not missing any wheels or anything like that, so he can get back to the pit lane. He'll be able to go again. I wonder if he's just going to straight line this corner. No, he's still going to. Oh no, there we go. Now he straight lines it, and he will be trying to get back to the pit lane. Meanwhile, his teammate just went into 4th place on a 135.777.
Yeah.
And so lucky escape there for Sir Tom Penguin.
And we're seeing Josiah pushing hard, very hard, almost losing the rear end. So we're going to see a first time from him, and it's enough to go 5th at 135.8. But just as we seen last time out, it's Magic Poop Cannon coming out the blocks very quickly, Dan. And what's your thoughts on that? I mean, speaking about drivers that are good qualifiers, is that something you are, Dan, or is that something you get sometimes? Drivers that are just straight out the pits, on it, one lap, no problem, don't need to warm up. I mean, why is that?
I honestly don't really know. To be honest, it always amazes me when drivers do that and you just come out straight away. Immediately the first lap is absolutely spectacular. I remember Softy done it a lot last season in TGP1, and Matt Tibos as well. I love qualifying, I love going for hot laps, but I can never get it right first time straight away. It takes a bit of a build up, but it's amazing how these drivers, some of these drivers just put the tyres on, the session gets underway, straight away they just put in an incredible lap, and you see it appear at the top of the screen and you just think, I can't beat that. There's still 15 minutes left in the session, but I know that I'm not going to be able to beat that time.
The one thing in my league racing days, I mean, I was never a man to nail the lap first time round, Dan, but I was always one that would do a lot of practice previously when I really took league racing seriously, like even like Monaco last year, when because I know I've got a chance round there.
Yeah.
Like I would always do my best time in qualifying. It wouldn't be in practice. I would always peak in qualifying. I would say I was good at that, but I was never good at nailing it on the first attempt. That was something I always struggled with, and it's strange. Like, different drivers have got different strengths in that way, but I just felt like when the pressure was on, the focus just went up a level, and it found me that extra tenth. And maybe that's what it is with some drivers, straight out the pits, and they're on it right away, and they prefer to go round without a delta, without a reference, and just go for it first time round.
Yeah, that's another good point, that actually, isn't it? Sometimes people say the delta sometimes puts them off, but I don't feel that way. I like having the delta there when I see it go green, and I don't know, it's almost like it gives you an extra boost of confidence, although obviously then when you see it red, it's like, oh god, how am I going to get the time back here? But yeah, some people do prefer to just go straight out, no delta, and just put the lap in. Fair play to them if they can do that, because I certainly can't do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I love that delta being there. I love that reference, so you know where you need to find time as well. I think that's the key thing about the delta. You know where you're losing time with it. If you find yourself struggling to find extra pace, you know where compared to your rivals it is. That's what's so good about it. And then when you find that extra 2/10, you know you've found the 2/10, whereas you might not notice it on another lap. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the advantage of having the delta. Is Chris Johnson comes round the final corner, on and out lap, race winner of course, in the breathless Australian Grand Prix that you've just had the pleasure of tuning in and watching. But here comes Chris Johnson round the final corner. He's going to start a flying lap around this Yas Marina circuit into turn 1, 90-degree left-hander, carry a medium speed corner. You've got to carry the momentum round it and then fly up the hill, through the left, through the right. It's like a roller coaster ride, a bit like Ferrari World, which is just over the back of that main grandstand in front of us, as Chris Johnson slams on the brakes into what Dan describes, and I agree with him, as a really tight chicane, and then into the hairpin, which just seems to tighten and tighten, and you just wait and wait and wait to pick that throttle up, and eventually Chris Johnson does. And Dan, I never got a chance to ask you in the track guide, but your thoughts on this, thing that we've started to see in more modern racetracks, this shortening of a lane at the end of the straight. Your thoughts on that?
I don't really understand why it's a thing, to be honest. Do you know why? Do you know why they do it? Oh, he's a bit too early on the power there, but he's got through it all right there, Chris Johnson. Yeah, I don't really understand it. Why they choose to do that? It just seems a bit awkward.
Yeah, it almost shortens the overtaking probability, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, as Chris Johnson is 57.6 the second sector. That's a 10th down on what Magic Buchanan was at the second sector. So he's certainly on an improvement. Will it be enough to go into the first position though, I wonder? As this is really where the 90 degree corner is really hot up now, isn't it, at the end of this lap?
Yeah,
see how close he gets to the wall there. Oh, look at Dom's put in a 134.8.
Goodness me, Dom Smith then rising to the occasion. What can Chris Johnson do? Can he drop Dom Smith straight back out of pole position? It doesn't look like it. Up to the line he goes. He only goes third quickest, a 10th exactly off the pace of Magic Poop Cannon. But the big story, Dom Smith then, 1 minute 34.8. Well, he's one of the drivers that needed a warm-up, and he's taken that warm-up, batted it aside, and pumped in a flying lap to go quickest by 3/10.
He wants to win this race, doesn't he, after that final lap in Australia. The par set is up on his time at the moment, but to tell you what, he's going to have traffic here with Angel versus Death, and with Baz, Angel versus Death gets out the way, does he? Oh, I think he tried to, but couldn't manage to do it in the end, and Parser will not be happy with that. He was on a quicker lap.
Yeah, well, Parser's not actually had a clean lap yet, has he? He's been involved in traffic in every lap he's done, so to be 8/10 down, not too bad. And he's still improved. He's still only 6/10 down, so there certainly appears to be a lot of pace in that Red Bull, and potentially pole position pace.
Yeah, you could be right there. Parser definitely has time in the bag, doesn't he, to show us. As we just see who else is on a lap time. Alex Afro is on a lap time coming through the final couple of corners. He's just marginally up on his time as well. Could this push him into the top 4, into the final corner, get on that curve, crosses the line, and he does go into 4.
Big improvement in that final sector for Alex Afro then, to move up into the top 4 ahead of Parser, who I'm sure will be going quicker on his latest run. He's found 200s in the first sector. We'll come back to him. Who we got further round the track?
Oh, Chris Johnson is going off the track, but it's okay, he's back on it. Dom comes into the pit lane, just trying to see, do we have...
Sayre Sports, he's going quickly. 4/10 found on his previous best up till this point, so let's see what he's got towards the end of the lap then. The man who ended the race on the podium in second place last time out, the man who should have qualified second but got a 5-place grid penalty last time out, a man that looks very quick, a man who could be a potential championship challenger, going for the line and going 4th quickest. 4/10 away, dispatches Alex Afro and drops him down to 5th, but where is Parser? He's 1.5 up on his previous best, and he's now only getting to the sector where he started to struggle, and he's got space to work in. So no traffic for Parser, so surely this is going to be an improvement, and I've got a good feeling he's got plenty of time at his disposal. So here comes Parser in that Red Bull, rounding the final corner. Is it going to be pole position? Surely it is! No! 0.5 down on Dom Smith, but there's no doubt about it, that Red Bull driver is going to be in a fight for pole today.
Definitely, yeah, he got an absolutely wonderful toe as well from his teammate down the first long straight at the start of the lap there. So Parser then, when he can get a clean lap in, clearly has the speed to be up there around this circuit. His teammate's in 7th place at the moment. In fact, his teammate also on a lap now and is slightly off in the first sector. The majority of the drivers are coming back into the pit lane to get ready for their final lap.
Joe Sayre 2/10 down for the second sector on his previous best, so there will not be another lap from him, I don't think, coming round this time round. So yeah, you're right, most drivers coming round to the pits or on out laps. If we get anyone out there going quicker, Sir Tom Penguin's out there going through the first sector. I didn't see his time through that first sector, but certainly looks like he's travelling at a decent speed, so let's suggest that Tom Penguin's on a quick lap, DRS open, using up ERS, so this is definitely going to be a strong lap from Sir Tom Penguin. Oh, he's gotten too deep down into the chicane, and that is a bundle of time. Half a second anyway, chucked away, and his chances of moving up towards the top 4 or 5 places are pretty much gone with that, because there's such a gap between 6th and 7th. You lose half a second there, you're not going to get in the top 6.
Yeah, you're right. As Cena is coming around the end of the lap now. We'll see if he can get up there as well, get anywhere near to his teammates. What do you see, Andy?
Yeah, big improvement through the second sector from Cena is what I'm seeing. So this should move him.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
He's gone too wide there. Too much curb on that penultimate corner, and he's going to have to go again. 35.3 as he crossed the line there. But he's going to have to go again. In fact, does he even have the fuel to go again with 2 minutes to go?
Yeah, so that's a half second he would have been off pole, so he would have stayed 7th. So I suppose if that's any pleasure to him, the disappointment of not completing the lap, it wouldn't have changed his position. But, you know, I mean, if he got to within half a second of the front guys, it might have give them a little bit of breathing space for when people improve. So Cena 7th at best, unless he's got fuel, which I don't think he does because he's going slowly at the minute. So things not looking good for Cena. A second off, and plenty of people to improve. It's blown well now, by the way. He's gone up into 8th place, so that's a good effort from him.
And here comes Player Girls across the line. He goes into 8th place then. The guy who made the error in Australia and got caught out of a virtual safety car in 8th place can't repeat his heroics of the previous round. As Dom is about to start his final lap. They're all about to start the final lap now, aren't they? Look at Magic Poop Cannon.
Magic Poop Cannon.
Oh,
he's invalidated at the crucial moment. Disaster. He was flying, absolutely flying, 4, nearly 5 tenths up on his previous best, and was heading for a mid-34, and he's thrown it away. So that's a disaster for him. Advantage Dom Smith, who's now 2 tenths up through the first sector on his previous best, and now getting a huge tow off of Blair Grills down the straight. So Dom Smith then, looking at a potential chance to extend his advantage. Magic Poop Cannon will need to go again. Passes in the pits and won't go out. We've got Johnson, Sear Sports and Axe Afro on outlaps.
Watch Bazza. I think Bazza's going to improve big time here. Remember, he was on the medium tyres before, and he made the edit on the soft tyres in Australia, which meant he had to start in 12th place. He's doing 12th here, I guarantee you, but he's about to cross the line, and he goes up to 7th. So not as much as I thought he was going to improve there, I have to say, but still, 7th place is decent enough. Yeah,
it's an improvement for Bazza. It's going to be another average qualifying, probably not what he was expecting or hoping for. Maybe it's a time for a change of strategy with qualifying and just warm himself up on those soft tyres and then go for the killer at the end instead of, you know, going for the mediums. But Dom Smith is going underneath the hotel, and he's going quickly. A little bit off in his second sector. It means he's a little bit, he's around about level, and now he's gone wide at the final corner, and he's abandoned that lap. So the time to aim for is a 1 minute 34.8. Parsa and Magic Poop Cannon will not be improving. So the front three are all sitting ducks for anyone that can improve, and Chris Johnson's one of them, finding time in sector 1, Dan.
Yeah, he's up by a tenth and a half. I think he starts that final lap, but literally just 2 or 3 seconds to go. And it's Chris Johnson, the man who took away the win from Dom on the last lap of Australia, going to take away pole on his last lap here in Abu Dhabi.
Disaster. Parsa's retired out on the racetrack, and that has killed Alex Zafro's session. He was 2 tenths up. He was going to be threatening the front few rows of the grid, and that has killed his hopes. Bazza, by the way, is going out there quicker again. He's furthest round the lap, so he's a man to watch at the minute. So where is Bazza? Is he finding time? He's now the latest man to catch Parsa's car.
But look at Cena. Cena's coming around the final corner. Cena's up on his time as well. I think Cena's about to improve. That's such a shame for Bazza, though.
Here we go then, Cena around the final corner. What's he going to do? Is there an improvement on 9th? Is there an improvement to 4th? Big improvement there. What about Bazza? Cross the line, stays 8th quickest. No improvement. So now we need to look for Chris Johnson and Sear Sports. Chris Johnson first of all then. And he's bailed out. He's invalidated. So now it's all about Sear Sports, and this does not look like an improvement either, is it? Let's see. It might be actually. Round the final corner, Sear Sports currently 6th.
He's done it.
He's done it. He's done it. He's moved up and put it on pole position right at the very end. Joe Sear at the very end of qualifying delivers with the final blow, and he's beaten his old friend Dom Smith to pole by 600ths of a second. It's Sear Sports on pole. It's Dom Smith in second. What year is this? 2014, Dan?
I know, yeah, but I think there's going to be one of those seasons, where just one small error is just going to lose you so many positions and so much time. Because I mean, look at that. Chris Johnson now down in sixth, and he was clearly improving at the end as well. Bazza as well was improving. Alex was improving. They're down in sixth, seventh, and eighth. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, what a season it's going to be. So it's Sayre Sports from Dom Smith. It's Parsa in third. He'll be under investigation with the stewards for retiring in the session, surely. It ruined a few laps there. Magic Poopcan in fourth. Cena fifth. Great lap from him. Chris Johnson sixth. Alex Afro seventh. Baza eighth. Jacko ninth. And Angel versus Death doing well up in 10th place.
It's going to be good then, isn't it? As we'll see how this goes. Dom did go quicker in that session than he did last season, by the way, on the wheel.
Well, there you go then. I think he's not taking long to warm up to the wheel, Dan. I mean, I don't. Oh, what?
Well, surely this is. Wow. I don't know. I was not expecting to see this. I did not have any idea this was coming, despite the fact I mentioned it 10 minutes ago. But wow.
What is going on? I mean, was this planned? Was this planned? I mean, I've just arrived in the commentary box tonight, and well. I'm soaking wet, Dan, because I came into the paddock without my brolly. I didn't pack it in the suitcase. Did you pack yours?
Well, Dom did say to this special season of TGP, expect the unexpected, and there will be a few twists. Yesterday, I mentioned to him, it's like Abu Dhabi going to be in the heavy rain or something, and he categorically denied that. So unless this is just totally random, it's going to be a wet race.
Well, there we go then. The first time ever in Abu Dhabi. The lights are out in the full wet conditions. It's Sayre Sports gingerly moving from pole position off the grid. It's the slowest start ever. Not for Dom Smith though. He's seen it coming and he's up into the lead of the race. Oh my goodness. Round they go. 1, 2, 3. Off the road and Cena takes the lead. Unbelievable start to the race. The front three in the grid.
There's more contact. There's the next corner with the two Mercedes and Blake Nils around.
Cars off everywhere, Mr. John, Jack. Oh, everyone, blue. What is going on? We've got a safety car deployed. And no wonder.
Well, I suppose that's what happens if we have a wet race in Abu Dhabi. Now we know, there's just a massive crash at the start.
Well, that was absolute bedlam. The three drivers on the front three places in the grid spun round at the first corner. And everyone, almost everyone in the field has got a penalty.
Oh dear, look, they're still trying to find a position at the back of the pack here. Look, they're going so slow, trying to work out. I was there to you. I was behind you. They're still sorting it out. There's a stereogram slowing down there from Mr. John. So Cena is in the lead. Alex Afro is second. Basil third. Chris Johnson fourth. I have no idea who's got damage. We'll find out when he pits.
Well, I'm going to use that old saying I like to use quite a lot of Murray Walker's. Anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Well, anything can happen in TGP2, and it usually does. First of all, we were stunned by the wet weather. That's why we're sitting soaking in the commentary box when we came into the paddock. And then the front three in the grid ended up facing the wrong way in the first corner of the first lap of the race. And now we've got half the grid with penalties and a full safety car out there with Cena leading from Alex Zafro and Baza. Dan, you just can't write this.
No, you really cannot write this, and just trying to see here what the penalties are exactly. A lot of the penalties are 5-second penalties, which are usually the ones that are given out once the safety car is deployed, because there's probably just so much carnage going on. So, I don't know, but a lot of these penalties might get removed, perhaps, at the end of the race. This is going to take some time to figure out post-race, but let's see who comes into the pit lane then. Both Mercedes are coming in, so Chris Johnson's going to have to queue.
Yeah, Chris Johnson is going to have to queue, and just like the last wet one of the wet races in Formula 1 in 2019, we had two Mercedes queuing and it was absolute chaos. Well, we're going to see a similar situation here. They're going to queue down at Mercedes, and look at the state of this. Baza and Chris Johnson queuing in the pit lane. What are you seeing?
Baza had the penalty as well, so it's going to take even longer for him to queue.
And a new front wing as well, just to add to the chaos. So the Mercedes team have had a nightmare. It's like Sakir all over again. It's like Germany 2019 all over again. Oh, and we'll just chuck another front wing on Chris Johnson's car as well. Oh, and he had a penalty to serve too. This is an absolute disaster for Team Mercedes. Chris Johnson still sitting in the box. The race leaders, by the way, who are under safety car, are going down the back straight already. Just to give you an idea how long he's been sitting there, it's been a 45-second lap for Chris Johnson, and he's still in the pit lane.
Wow, it's Mercedes once again. It's Sakia 2020 all over again, isn't it, for Mercedes? As here you go, gingerly coming out the pit, they have to be so careful through that tunnel as well in these conditions. Oh, well, obviously there's no water in the tunnel, but you know what I mean. As he rejoins the racetrack, as down in 17th.
Yeah,
and has Breezer gone off? Breezer's gone off under the safety car.
Oh, well, I mean, it's quite wet out there. Perhaps a breeze has breezed him off, has blown him off the track. Let's see, where is he, Breezer? 6th place. He's okay on my screen. I think he's just been off and rejoined.
You might have done actually, so I suppose that's right. There was a few position changes going on, but you could be right, it might have gone off, which then elevated him a few positions, and then he lost the positions once again. We're going to have one more lap of safety car, aren't we, which hopefully these guys can all catch up.
Yeah, and Red Bull Kim now is up in 4th place, and he doesn't need to pit either, because you can go to the end in the wet conditions, so that's going to be interesting. So Red Bull Kim running up in 4th place here, and chasing an unlikely victory. Dan, what do you think? What do you think would happen in TGP if Red Bull Kim won?
Well, I don't know. I think they'd be street parties, wouldn't they? Despite the fact there's the pandemic.
Yeah, I think Denmark would go wild.
Streets. Yeah, Denmark would go absolutely insane if Red Bull Kim was to win this race on these wet tyres. He has that penalty, but as I say, obviously a lot of the drivers had to save that penalty in the pit lane just now, and is Breezer coming in the pit lane? Yeah, he is coming in the pit lane. So Red Bull Kim just got to... Is he not? Okay, so Breezer hit Red Bull Kim, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay, so Breezer hits Red Bull Kim, but he's not come in. And we've now got the two Haas drivers running 4th and 6th at the minute. So that penalty for Red Bull Kim is going to get removed, I'm pretty sure. Now it's saying that he collided with Say Sports, which I don't think he did. So if Red Bull Kim's got a 15-second penalty, I think, at this stage, and I think all of them are going to get removed. Yeah, it's a bit wild out there. Lap 3 out of 14. We've not done much racing yet. We've done plenty of spinning at the first corner, and plenty of following a safety car, but we will get racing, pretty sure, at the end of this lap. But Dan, I've got to say, I know there's preset weather conditions for the Formula 1 game. It's either very wet, and it doesn't get any wetter than that. So, you know, heavy rain is heavy rain, but this might be the worst conditions I have ever seen. Full darkness, obviously there's floodlights, but there's such a mist and such a high amount of standing water on there. I don't think I've ever seen such low visibility. It
does look terrible, doesn't it? Looking from some of the onboards, it looks absolutely awful. This is going to be really... Oh, and Alex Zaffro's hit Cena!
Zaffro, what are you doing, lad? No need for that. No need. Focus. Focus. And he's failed to do so. And he's now damaged the wing. And he might need to make a pit stop. And that would put Red Bull Kim on the podium, Dan.
Oh, that's such a shame for Alex Zaffro. Magic Poopcan then will give him to 2nd place, who of course wants to make amends after that instance in Australia. So, well, we're about to get going again then. Chris Johnson down in 15th. Dom Smith just ahead of him in 14th. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Dan, that's for sure, because this is uncharted territory even for me. Trust me, I've commentated on a lot of league races, Dan, and I don't think any of them in my time has been in a fully wet Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So your guess is as good as mine as to what's about to happen here. But what I can tell you is the lights are out in the safety car. I mean, now as a result, we can now barely see the thing. But Cena will have to try and figure out where he's going and see if he can avoid the safety car around the final couple of corners, and we will get this race underway. One of the slowest safety car restarts ever, but in comes the safety car pulling off any moment now, and Cena will become the pace car, and he will control when we get this race underway. But after 3 laps of waiting and spinning around and making pit stops, we are going to get going in race number 2 this season. It's Cena leading them across the line. Alex Zaffro, with that wing damage, has chosen to carry on, and he's not hanging around, is he? He's having a look at Cena into turn 1. Cena's going to go a little bit wide. He's gone very, very wide, and Alex Zaffro with the damaged wing is going down the inside into turn 1, almost finding a way through there. And if he did, that could have resulted in carnage. Cena leads then from Zaffro as they all try and test the conditions out in racing trim for the first time. Cena leads, Zaffro 2nd, Poopcan in 3rd, and Say Sports in 4th.
I have to say, I'm really not sure how Cena kept that lead there. After that, Alex was right all over him, and then he went off, but he just stayed ahead. Look how slow they're going around this hairpin.
Mr. John sending one up the inside on Red Bull Kim, locking wheels at the hairpin. Fans on their feet, but as a result, it doesn't appear to be any change of position there. So Red Bull Kim holds on to that 5th place. We've got all sorts of drama going on further down the field. We've got Chris Johnson battling with Dom Smith down the street.
Alex Afro's gone for the lead. He's gone for the lead, but he's got way too deep, and he's going to have to cut the track. And Cena's left the session.
And that will now be the lead for Alex Afro as a result then. So Cena leaves the session, and Alex Afro, with the damaged front wing in that Renault, now leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Unbelievable.
Well, because they're all going to be able to go past Cena then, of course, because the car's going to go. So this might give Alex Afro a bit more of a chance to pull away as well.
Well, the Poop Can has dispatched Cena immediately, and Josiah and even Red Bull Kim will do so in a moment. And Red Bull Kim will retake 4th position in this race on lap 4. Mr. John is going to be 5th. Well, I tell you what, I didn't expect to see Red Bull Kim and Mr. John fighting for 4th and 5th, but that is the situation here.
I was just wondering, I thought Cena rejoined the lobby there. His car was going all over the place, but no. Red Bull Kim gets ahead, and they're all going to get ahead then.
Oh, Red Bull Kim's lost it! He's off! No, Red Bull Kim, I don't believe it! He just about holds on, doesn't damage the car, but he's just struggling to get the throttle down. Do remember, folks, Red Bull Kim does drive with no assist, so this is more difficult for him than anyone out there, as Alex Afro sets a new fastest lap, and I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. 2 minutes 0.3.
And, well, he was a second ahead, Alex Afro, but then in the final sector, Magic Poop kind of caught right back up. So Magic Poop kind of, you have to say, probably looks like he has the pace at the moment. Of course, Alex Afro has that damage, doesn't he? And, of course, it will be most painful for him in the final sector.
Yeah, it will be very painful. And I'm on board now with Magic Poop Cannon. And, you know, it's such a dark livery that the Renault at the back, the blackness. You just can't see the car in front at all. I mean, if you're someone out there that doesn't run the name tags, which is an option, you're struggling to see that car, aren't you?
It's a good point, yeah. It's, you can see him going to the left there now, Alex Afro, and he's pulled away quite a bit down this straight, so I think Magic Poop Cannon's going to get the move done here at the moment. We'll see what's going on further behind there, and Parser is close to Jacko. If he's late on the brakes, he might get the place, but I think Jacko's just going to keep it. It's Johnson and Dom are together, 9th and 10th in the grid at the moment. In the last race, they were at the front of the field.
Yeah, they were. Drama everywhere. I mean, we've got a shunt big time. That's Jacko on the straight. Has he aquaplaned or has he made a contact with someone?
It's a safety car.
And that is a full safety car again. But Jacko with a big moment down that straight, and that has brought out the safety car yet again.
I have a feeling the aquaplaned because I quickly went on board with Parser, and literally he was just having to take immediate evasive action to the car spinning in the middle of the track. So he must have just aquaplaned in pretty much a straight line. That just shows how difficult it is.
Yeah, well, Jacko.
And Chris Johnson, Dom's just hit the back of Chris.
And is that damage?
Dom's got damage.
Oh, goodness me. The pressure telling for Dom Smith, and you know, you just have to be so careful in the wet conditions under safety car, because the speed is so different, especially when it's like this, to what it usually would be around a track like this. So Alex Afro then will pick up the safety car once again, and I suppose we're going to have to wait another 3 laps before we get some action. I mean, we only had 1 or 2 racing laps at this stage, and we're going to be with 5 or 6 laps to go before we get some real racing here.
Yeah, it's going to be a 5 lap sprint to the finish then, and well, Alex Afro does not have any intention of pitting, so he's going to try and get to the end of the race with that damaged front wing. It would be absolutely amazing if he was to win it. Be the first winner, and what I'm almost certain is the first wet Abu Dhabi TGP race. As look at this weather, it's raining sideways, literally.
I was just looking at that myself, Dad. I was like,
yeah.
I just looked at my screen there and then looked outside my window and thought, that looks pretty similar. The Scottish weather has touched down in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, Alex Afro at the front in the rain, which is falling sideways here in Abu Dhabi, leads the way. I think, and I know the rain totals aren't very high in the desert of Abu Dhabi, but I'm taking a guess that they're dropping it all in one day today. I mean,
it must, yeah. I mean, it must be, mustn't it? It just must be one of those days in Abu Dhabi. Not a good day to be on the marina, I imagine.
No, I don't fancy that. I mean, not a good day for a boat party. down on the marina, and yeah. I was hoping you and I, Dan, could pop along to one of those tonight, but my clothes and your clothes have been ruined by the weather, so I'm afraid that is not going to happen. So I suppose it'll be a quiet night in the hotel tonight. Me and Dan, of course, staying in the Yas Island Hotel.
Yeah, well, I feel like everybody will be going off to the Amber Lounge, won't they? But,
yeah.
You know, did they do vaccine passports in Abu Dhabi?
I don't know. Well, I'm staying in the hotel tonight. I'm going to have a quiet one. See, there's my room there, 206.
Yeah.
Just overlooking the racetrack. So yeah, I'm staying in there tonight. Red Bull Kim, by the way, he was the man that put me up. You know, he bought the tickets, so he got me in the hotel. So hats off to Red Bull Kim for paying for me and Dan's time in the hotel this weekend. That was good of him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's not at all related to the praise we were giving him half a lap ago.
So, lap 6 then, out of 14. Alex Zaffro leads with damaged front wing. Magic Poop Cannon is second. Sayre Sports is running in third at the minute. Mr. John, big shout out to him. We've not mentioned him much yet. Fourth position. That's a very impressive result at the minute if he can hold on to that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, just trying to have a quick look at the penalty situation here. I don't think anyone's actually had a penalty for corner cutting. Yeah. Look, there's another one there for Dom, and I think Shepard got one as well. So, pretty much when he crossed the line, I'm pretty much just going to the penalty is going to be effectively irrelevant. Although, having said that, now a driver does get disqualified because of the amount of penalties in the form of Shepard. But yeah, I'm just going to say the penalties are pretty much irrelevant until proven otherwise. Once we get the official result later on the TGP Twitter account.
Yep, I think that's fair to say. So we'll have to wait and see later on to get the final results, but we will be ignoring those penalties. I think that's the right thing to do because, of course, under safety car, this is slam dunk removal usually. So we'll see if that is the case. But we are at half race distance or half safety car race distance. Most laps led so far. Bernd Mailander in the safety car, dominating the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with Alex Zaffro on the second most number of laps led. But yeah, Mr. John then having a really good race, running in fourth, and I think he would just take a few points today, but given he's running in fourth place, I think he might be looking for a top 5 or 6 because, you know, your wise old head, Mr. John, he's been league racing for a long time. He knows if you just keep your nose clean out there, with the drama we're having today, it might lead to a famous result.
It might. Just very quickly, Cena has said that his PS4 turned off. So reliability problems for Cena may well have cost him a victory on his debut night in TGP2.
Yeah, the Red Bull Honda engine or PlayStation Sony engine. I know they're both Japanese, aren't they? So makes sense. So that might be the reason for Cena's retirement, and it's not worked out well for him. And yeah, he's out of the Grand Prix. But Mr. John then, let's keep an eye on him. Let's see what he can do. He's going to be a big feature, but it's all about what's happening at the front though. Alex Zaffro versus Magic Poop Cannon versus Sayre Sports. What do you think, Dan? If you had to pick a winner from the front three, they look the most likely, don't they? Because Mr. John, we don't expect him to have the same pace.
I think right now I'd say Magic Poop Cannon. I'd say Magic Poop Cannon at the moment, but if Alex Zaffro can, you know, hold them off despite the damage, I think he could, you know, maybe he might pull off something special. Yeah, about to find out.
Well, here we go then, round the final corner to start lap number 8 out of 14, and we are racing to the flag no matter what happens now. We've hit the 2 safety car limit and we are go. I seen a Renault sliding there in the background, didn't see who, as Mr. John's under threat already from Baza into turn 1. And Baza, by the way, after a poor qualifying session, or a poor double qualifying session from the 2 races so far, really needs some points on the board, and he's attacking Mr. John. He can barely see the racing point in front of him, trying left and right to get a move, but he's not able to do it yet. As Blair Grylls behind that is up the inside of Parsa. Is he through on Parsa? Banging wheels, very, very close. Parsa holds on, I think, but Blair Grylls on the outside will have the inside for the next corner, and that should result in 6th place. They're going so slowly round there, aren't they? But Parsa is held on with Chris Johnson getting a double slipstream from the pair of them. But we need to go to the front because there's 3/10 between the leaders. You can barely see them as they fan out down the straight. Is Magic Poop Cannon close enough for a move? No, he stays behind and in 2nd place.
It's like F1 in slow motion there, wasn't it? The hairpin. Let's see what happens at the next corner. As we've got Chris Johnson going past Blair Grylls now, and is Neljak going to get round his teammate as well, round the outside in the pouring rain, and Blair Grylls has gone off as well, and he's going to come back on the track. Oh dear!
back across the track, slides into the side of Sir Tom Penguin, who spins to the rear of the field, and it's a disaster for Sir Tom Penguin, caught up in that there, which I feel for him for, and it's all gone wrong for one Renault, one at the back, the other in the minute, living the dream at the front and on course for a historic victory. But Magic Poop Cannon is desperate to end any hopes of that.
Says I'm going to get a penalty then, and yes, I can confirm this was one of the big twists that we're going to be seeing throughout the season in this special TGP2 season. Just noticed on the TGP Series Twitter account, Dom has confirmed it.
Now,
and Jacko's gone. Oh, he was already out the race, of course, wasn't he? And Alex Afro's gone off, but he's back on track.
Well, Bernie Eccleston has deployed the sprinklers for this one as Magic Poop Cannon sets a brand new fastest lap of the race. We're finally out of the 2 minutes, folks. 1 minute 57 on lap 9 out of 14. We finally break the 2 minute barrier. Tell you what, if this was 100% distance, I think we'd be touching the 2 hour limit as Magic Poop Cannon has the rear end sliding, and Blair Grills is now out of this race. So we've lost Blair Grills. He's retired in the pit lane. Yeah,
in the pit lane. I think that is well, can Magic Poop Cannon get a good run then this time round? Remember, Alex Afro has that damage. He really nailed the restart though, which really allowed them to pull away. But this time, Magic Poop Cannon is much closer.
Yep, he is very, very close. Half a second between them. 6/10 it's climbing up to now, but without that DRS, you do find that sometimes on the game, overtaking in the wet is more difficult than in the dry. Whereas, 5/10 back, dry conditions, slipstream, DRS, you'd breeze past, but on the game, in the wet, I find it sometimes a little bit more difficult to overtake, whereas it's not the case in real life. Oh, his Poop Cannon gets right on the carbon slide.
Not a difficult move there for Chris Johnson, who very nicely gets past Parson into 6th place, and after having to queue earlier on behind his teammate, he's now back behind his teammate in 6th place with Bazza in 5th. Parson trying to come back at him there as Bazza gets close to Mr. John as well. Mr. John, though, holding his own in 4th place.
Dan, are you there? Yep, sorry about that, folks. My mic unplugged there in front of me at the PlayStation, but we are back with the action. A little bit of an intermission, I do apologise. But we have got the action back now, and it's all happening, isn't it? Chris Johnson then, and Bazza, the 2 Mercedes teammates, battling down at the hairpin. Total Wolf will be pulling his hair out. Still Mr. John, by the way, running in 4th place and chasing a podium. Magic Poop Cannon dropping off the back of Alex Zafro. But here comes Chris Johnson on his teammate Bazza. The race one winner on the attack now of Bazza. He's going down the outside of Bazza. The 2 Mercedes battling here in Abu Dhabi in the wet. Bazza round the outside as he through the touch. The 2 Mercedes touch. And sliding is Bazza, and Chris Johnson is through. Salesforce has lost it, and Mr. John sweeps into the podium places. Do not scratch your eyes. That's Mr. John moving into the podium place, and that is a very, very famous result if it stays that way.
As Parser's trying to go around the outside of Salesforce as well. He's just shed the position Salesforce. Look at Parser. He's going to hang around there.
Oh, unbelievable stuff through there. It's so slow watching them dance around the corners. Parser still. Salesforce loses the rear. Parser gets it done. Round the outside, the bull beats the horse in the wet and is up into 6th position. But Mr. John is on the podium, folks. What is going on here?
Well, while you were away, Magic Poop Cannon made a big error in the final sector, which was gave Alex Afro now a 2.6 second lead at this stage. But Alex Afro has a penalty for corner cutting, so the gap is 2 seconds. So Magic Poop Cannon would still win the race because that would be a legitimate penalty.
Oh, that's a disaster then for Alex Afro, potentially losing the victory because of that. Then that would be a real blow for him. But on lap 11 out of 14 Mr. John chasing a podium, and I've got to ask you, Dan, is this a bigger shock than Sir Tom Penguin's podium last year?
I think Sir Tom Penguin's probably edges it.
It's tight.
But, yeah, it's tight because they're two very different races, aren't they? You know, this one's being, you know, the Azerbaijan one was a crazy race. This is just it's just survival in terms of the conditions, not because of incidents. It's just because of how heavy the weather is. So, you know, really good wet weather driving from Mr. John if he can keep this podium. Yeah,
I can tell you what, he's under real pressure to do so, though he's going to have his work cut out, no doubt about it. Chris Johnson, with a bit between his teeth, who is the championship leader, no less. Mr. John with a little bit of a rear end slide there, but Chris Johnson is gaining. Is he gaining enough to go for a move? I don't think so. Mr. John looking relatively good, relatively comfortable, not flustered by this, using all his years of experience to fend him off. And Chris Johnson's going purple in the second sector, but still Mr. John does not look flustered in any way whatsoever, Dan.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? He did get close, you say to Chris Johnson, but Mr. John just trying to stay calm in the car, no doubt, and is still in that podium position. He's still got 3 laps to go, and, you know, that is a long way around this track in the rain.
Yeah, well, it's 2 minutes worth a lap, so 6, 7, 8 minutes as Baza picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting as well.
Yeah, Magic Poop Cannon just made the same error he did on a previous lap, a couple of laps ago as well. So it's actually allowing Mr. John and Chris Johnson to close in on Magic Poop Cannon here.
Yeah, and Mr. John's only 3.8 roughly? Something like that, off 3.6, something like that? Yeah, 3.6 off of Alex Zaffro. So if it gets down under 3, he will be second on the road. Goodness me.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? But I think Chris Johnson does actually have a legitimate 3-second penalty as well.
Okay, well that's a great buffer for Mr. John then, isn't it? That's excellent news for him. And the gap's coming down.
Bazza as well. Bazza as well.
The gap is coming down. They are catching the front two. Mr. John is flying out there. He's only 1.4 and 2.5 seconds off the lead. He's got his net second in a minute. Mr. John is flying. He's flying.
Could he win? Could he win it?
Well, if he wins it,
Chris Johnson. Yeah, he's got the penalty.
He's got the penalty, so he'll come past Mr. John by the looks of it. Mr. John defends the inside. Chris Johnson down the outside. Is he through? Mr. John will break very late. That's excellent defending. He squeezes him out, and that's brilliant defensive driving from Mr. John. Elbows out, and he shows his experience brilliantly there to muscle himself back in front. And now Baza fancies a chance of pulling alongside his teammate, having been flustered by Mr. John. Now Baza is going to go round the outside of Chris Johnson. Can he get it done? Into the braking zone. He can! That's excellent stuff from Baza! Wow! We've been treated to an exhibition here. Brilliant stuff.
Brilliant driving there. They got really close in it because Chris Johnson suddenly caught right back up with Mr. John as well. So Chris Johnson sort of stuck in between rock and a hard place there and ended up getting mugged by his teammate.
Oh, what a race this is turning into. We had to wait some time before we got the racing laps in, but wow, we're witnessing a cracker. And I think it's fair to say that the guys 3rd, 4th and 5th are quicker than the 2 leaders at this stage. Just because they've been battling, they've not been able to gain.
It does look that way, doesn't it? Imagine we've kind of 1.2 seconds, or now less than a second behind Alex Afro. Alex Afro will have the penalty applied for corner cutting at the end of the race. So Magic Buchanan in first place, Mr. John second, then Baza and Chris Johnson both have penalties. Parsa does not have any penalties and he's right behind these two.
Well, Parsa, a dark horse then, moving himself into contention. So that'll be an interesting one as Magic Poop Cannon gains even more now onto the back of Alex Zaffro. And the interesting thing is Mr. John this time has around a second cushion on the guys in 4th and 5th. So he can now start to work into that gap between the front two. Mr. John is once again back in net second place here. And I tell you what, like I said when Sir Tom Penguin got the podium, if these two collide, Mr. John's winning this.
Yeah, they could be the famous words that make it happen, I suppose. That's what happened last time. But here we go. Once again, Magic Poop Cannon was so close to Alex Afro with the braking zone.
Well, here we go then. Big slide there for Magic Poop Cannon. He seems to be struggling an awful lot to pick the throttle up coming out of that chicane. That's a couple of times I've seen that now, as Mr. John threatens to get the gap to the leader underneath 2 seconds. Zaffro just about keeping it on the island at the minute. It won't be enough for the victory, or it won't even be enough for second at this stage because of his time penalty. Really hurting him. Mr. John's still holding the gap.
Magic Poop Cannon has 2 warnings, so if he does one more corner cut, and it will be a penalty. Chris Johnson's just got another penalty.
Wow, so it's mounting up. It's mounting up. What's Mr. John's warning count then? That's interesting.
I'll have a quick look. We'll have a quick look. It might be a bit difficult to figure out though because of the I think he's got just the 1 warning, Mr. John.
Wow. So Mr. John can afford one little cut. Magic Poop Cannon absolutely cannot. And if he does get one, Mr. John will take this victory in the most unbelievable of circumstances. And he's setting the fastest lap of the race! Whoa, what has this man had for dinner tonight? Because he is absolutely flying. Mr. John senses a victory here. If he can pass Magic Poop Cannon, or Magic Poop Cannon gets a penalty on this lap, he will do it. He might just do it on the road. He's that much quicker.
He is, look, he's so late on the brakes as well to Magic Poop Cannon. Will he fancy go down this long straight?
Well, I'm not supposed to be biased, but go on, Mr. John. This would be some story. This would be epic. This would be absolutely colossal. Bigger than the podium we seen from Sir Tom Penguin last year. No doubt about it if he won the race.
Yeah, absolutely. You can beat on that one if he was to win. It certainly would be. As once again, Magic Poop Cannon gets so close to Alexander, so he has to get on the brakes, and it allows Mr. John to close in a little bit more. And this is where Magic Poop Cannon struggled getting the throttle down. Oh, what's this? So did Mr. John there.
Oh, it might just peter out into a Magic Poop Cannon victory then after all this. It might not be for Mr. John. It certainly looks like an incredible second place though. And I think he's got driver of the day nailed down no matter what happens here. So Alex Zaffro is going to be the winner on the road. And he's in a slide! He's in a slide! Magic Poop Cannon has a little look up the inside. He's not going to be close enough though. And now Mr. John is even closer. He's almost within a second. He is within a second of the front two now. So will he go for glory? Will he fancy his chances?
This is where Magic Poop Cannon's made so many errors through the race.
Will he make one this time? No. He keeps it together on the final lap here. In the heavy rain here in Abu Dhabi. Alex Zaffro's first on the road, but Magic Poop Cannon's going to inherit the victory. Unless he makes a mistake in the final couple of corners and hands it to this man, Mr. John. Is he wide? Oh, he was so close to going wide there. Round the final corner, Alex Zaffro is going to be first across the line. But Magic Poop Cannon, as a result of the time penalty, is going to take the victory here. And Mr. John does drop down through the order. He must have had some serious amounts of time penalties from safety car infringement. But we do believe that Mr. John is second here.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to sort of clean us all up. But Mr. John is certainly second. Mr. John had 2 5-second penalties on a safety car for those silly incidents that happen. So I'm pretty sure they will get removed. Mr. John is second on the road, and I'm pretty sure Parsons got third because Bazza and Chris Johnson both had penalties.
Wow, what a crazy conclusion to that race. Well, he would have been fourth, sorry, because he didn't get ahead of Zaffro because Zaffro had a penalty. So that would be Poop Cannon, Mr. John. Am I right? Yeah, Poop Cannon, Mr. John.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Zaffro will be third, Parser will be fourth. Yeah, you're right.
And then we'd work down from there. So we'll see how it all pans out. We will just read you the order as we see it on the screens. But we do think that Mr. John is going to provide us with a big shock and land a podium here with second, which is astounding.
Absolutely, yes. Neljak had one penalty for 5 seconds, so that'll get removed from his as well. So I think Neljak might get fifth on the road as well ahead of Bazza, because he was just behind him there, and he had one penalty, which was through safety car. So Bazza might also find himself in a fifth place ahead of Neljak ahead of Bazza for fifth.
Yeah,
it's going to take a while to sort this all out, but the championship stands are going to be interesting to look at.
Yeah, well, Mr. John's going to be a championship contender going on this. Absolutely wild. And we did say that, didn't we, after the first race, Dan? We said, well, I might have to wait a couple of races before the form book is properly established. And that is exactly what's happened here. Wild results. Magic Poop Cannon, after a poor first race, has a brilliant second and wins here in Abu Dhabi in the heavy rain that no one saw coming. And as you can see on the screen there, it is raining sideways here in Abu Dhabi. And I don't think anyone can argue with that. Driver of the day, Mr. John.
Confirmation from Dom just being given to me that it is a Moss win, Magic Poop Cannon win from John in second place, and Alex will keep his penalty. So the penalties for the safety car penalties have all been removed.
Yep, they will all be removed then. So that just confirms it. Mr. John, second, folks. That is a story and a half. Right up there alongside the Tom Penguin podium from last season. I don't think we can argue about that. Imagine he won it. I mean, that would have just been outrageous. But in the end, it's a fantastic podium for Mr. John. Hats off to him. Driver of the day without doubt. Even the game agrees with us. And that's not often something you see. So Magic Poop Cannon, winner on the road. We do believe Mr. John will get second and Alex Safo third. We're not going to read through the order here because, I mean, look at the penalties because it's going to be so different from the order you see on the screen. But Dan, that threw some curveball, that wet weather, didn't it?
It did indeed, yes. Well, I think the two races I mentioned to Dom was, we're going to end up having races like Abu Dhabi and Bahrain and heavy rain to see what happens. I wonder if we might have Bahrain as a wet race as well later in the season, which could also be interesting. In fact, next week, we've got the Bahrain short race, the 50% race around the short track.
So is Bahrain short going to be wet?
Well, I don't know, but that will have a twist in itself, of course, being 50%. Really looking forward to that as well. What a start to the season.
Yeah, what a start to the season indeed then. Magic Poop Cannon, no doubt about that. He's the winner here in Abu Dhabi. And we can actually kind of look at the standings. Well, kind of, because we've been here for the two races that have happened so far.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But, of course, subject to penalties being adjusted. Magic Poop Cannon, 32 points. Chris Johnson on 29 and Alex Zafro on 26. So it's going to be close. I mean, so there's going to be roughly 3 or 4 drivers within 10 points. Obviously, that'll all get adjusted because of penalties and things like that. But, that was a little taster of, I'm pretty sure, the official, a good taster of what's to come in the official results and standings.
Yeah, and Alex Zafro was third as well in that race. And I think, did he get the top 6 in the previous one? So I think he'll be up there as well. It'll be the likes of Chris, Magic Poop Cannon, Dom, Alex Afro, Mr. John. It'll all be up there.
Yeah.
Say Tom Penguin might be up there as well.
Yeah, wow. What a crazy opening to the season here in Abu Dhabi and in Australia. Two races that were totally different, Dan. Australia in the dry, as you'd expect. A battle right to the flag, a classic TGP2 race, just what you expect, all the drama to the line. And then the other end of the spectrum, also what you'd expect in TGP2, just drama, incident, excitement, a curveball thrown in there with the heavy rain, and a surprise result in Mr. John on the podium. What was your favourite race from the night, Dan? What one did you prefer? I'm going Australia.
I enjoyed the Battle of Australia and the all boiling down to the final lap and the tension building, but the bonkersness of Abu Dhabi will stay with me, and that initial moment of seeing the track wet and then the first corner will stay with me for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I think it will stay with me for a long time too, Dan. Well, that's all we've had time for tonight then. What a start to this season. Drama everywhere you look. 2 great races to open up. But that's all we've got time for. It's time to head off. And we'll see you again at the same time next week, Wednesday, around about 7:20, something like that. We'll go live for qualifying, and we're going to Bahrain Short next week, Dan. And where else are we going?
Bahrain Short, and it is Austria.
Oh, well, there you go then. Austria and Bahrain Short, 2 very short racetracks, but they won't be short of excitement. That's all from us. Goodbye.